Tonight on the Delirious Dads Gaming Podcast.
A new horror game from Ubisoft?
Football's flying. Gosh dang it. I just messed up. Sorry. Footballs fly is what I'm supposed to say, not flying.
Why does it mess up Ryan's cam every time we do this, ladies and gentlemen? Must be that backwoods feed. I don't know. All right, let's redo that. Here we go.
Sorry, that was my fault.
It's okay. Tonight on the Delirious Dads Gaming Podcast.
New horror game from Ubisoft?
Footballs fly, and we talk Jedi.
Be careful. Don't fall on the podcast.
And now, the Delirious Dads Gaming Podcast.
That's what that was.
You're kidding me.
How's that? How's that, guys? Better. Wow.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, went all through all that. and
Start at the
nothing.
top. Start at the top. It's all right, guys. Hey, that's why we record this, and you'll hear that spiel in a second. So just
Yep.
start at the top.
Yeah. So, oh, that was horrible. All right. Sorry, guys. Had a little technical difficulties there. We're going to roll right in that, though. Roll with the punches. So this is Delirious Dads Gaming Podcast. A lot of E3 news going down. So we're going to be covering all things E3. But real quick, what we were just talking about, just to update you, we have a deal going with a company. It's a gaming apparel company. We're going to be working with them, seeing if we can work out a deal for some kind of giveaway, and hopefully be able to give back to you guys. So you'll just have to let us.
We appreciate you guys.
Send us some feedback while we're developing it. Give us some ideas. But what we're thinking right now is we're going to send out. We're going to have people send us feedback, basically of them either posting that they've shared and reviewed our Facebook page, or, and the big one, that's the big one for the podcast portion, is rate and share the iTunes account.
Yes.
The Delirious Dads. I'm not telling you have to give us a great review. I'm just saying we want trusted, real reviews. You know, the big deal.
And that actually will mean you'll have 2 chances to enter, right? So you'll be able to enter from the Facebook thing and from iTunes, or Facebook and Google Play, or wherever you rate and review us. So you can actually enter twice. I was actually talking about the fact that we will definitely backdate this. So anybody who's given us a rate and review on iTunes or on Google Play, or who has subscribed to Podbeam or whatever it is, those guys are going to automatically be entered. And then everybody who's liked us on Facebook, as long as they share the post, they'll automatically be entered. And so everybody new and everybody who's been will be included. We won't forget any original early fans and followers.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you something real, Clint. Were you recording then, just not broadcasting our voices, so we don't have to redo that part for the podcast?
Yeah, I was recording.
Okay, cool.
But the Streamlabs, for some reason, I clicked it to let the sound through, but then it decided it didn't want to. I don't know what's going on. It's acting a little bit glitchy. So
it's okay. We still love you, Streamlabs. Couldn't do it without you.
Yep. So, yeah, definitely couldn't do it without you. But we got it fixed now, so it's really not that big of a deal.
So just so you guys know who are new and listening, we record live, but this is actually a podcast, if you haven't followed that so far with the announcement we were just talking about. So when you watch live, you get mistakes and all. We try not to make mistakes. We're getting better and better at it. But it is, it'll be edited down for the actual podcast, and any dead time or mistakes, stuff like that gets edited. So it's just clean and crisp for your ride to work. So if you don't get to listen to this whole thing now, because it's live and you maybe didn't schedule a time to listen now, join in. We usually record live on Mondays, and we come out on Fridays with the release of the podcast.
Yep. And then other news that I really quickly wanted to cover. Wanted to let you guys know I haven't updated the website or the Facebook page yet, but we now have access to iHeartRadio, so you can find us on iHeartRadio.
Nice.
So the whole podcast, I went and looked. I mean, all of everything's on there basically. So
sweet.
Go check that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, go check that out, guys. Faux show. So anyway,
so today's basically an E3 show.
Yep.
There's so much news in E3. We're not going to really get to talk about much else. We might hit on a little bit of family stuff or something that's happened with us that's funny. But outside of that, we're just going to be banging out E3 news.
Baby.
Little E3 action.
And we'll try to hit on just about everything. We're not going to hit every game, but we will hit every compartment, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
so hopefully you guys enjoy it.
And E3 was there was just a lot of announcement of games, so it was a lot of trailers and that kind of thing. So we'll hit it. Some things we'll focus more on, others don't take offense to it. It is what it is right now. So
yeah, and actually, if there's something you're like, how could you guys miss that? It was my favorite thing about E3. Email us, message us on Facebook, let us know. We'll throw it in the next episode.
Yep, throw it in the chat right now. We've got it up.
There's going to be stuff that pops up even that we're going to find that we'll talk about in the next couple episodes. So.
Oh, yeah.
And thank you to Rachel for letting us know about the sound. She
Yeah.
got us
Yes.
over. I think I don't know if she's on the Facebook stream or the Twitch stream. I
She's
don't know.
probably on Facebook stream.
Well, it said I am Groot. I think that's her Twitch stream.
That is Twitch.
So I think she is over on the
Thanks,
on
Rach.
the Twitch. But yeah, so let's roll in. We're gonna go ahead and roll into the Leaks for Geeks intro, and then we'll hit up the E3 news.
I thought you were telling a story about your daughter on the bar stool. I didn't even get to the end of the story.
Oh, that's right.
Nobody else got to hear it.
Because the sound. That's right. Thank you
Right.
for reminding me. Okay.
You're good.
So at the beginning of the intro, and you'll hear it in the podcast,
But not
the
here
video.
because we weren't live with the sound.
Right. I had said, be careful, don't fall on the podcast. The reason I said that was right before the podcast got started. You know, we're running around getting things ready, and I go into the kitchen, and my daughter Claire is standing up on our kitchen chair, which is a high chair, and she's standing up on it trying to get food out of the sack that I brought home, the food, and she does the chair kind of goes out from under a little bit, like the wobble. She just does the straight down fall. I mean, hits her arms, hits her chin on the table, and then does like the action guy fall back, and then just lands on the ground flat on her bottom.
Gosh.
And so
Good thing
she,
it's nice soft carpet in there.
yeah. So she fell on the hard kitchen floor.
Yeah, that was sarcasm.
Well, the listeners don't know that though.
It's a kitchen. Most kitchens have tile. I
Yeah,
get it.
whatever.
Go ahead, though.
Whatever. Anyway, so yeah, so she had a hard fall. So as I was telling the family, hey, we're going to do the podcast. Love you guys. Give them kisses. Claire goes, be careful. Don't fall on the podcast, Dad. So it was I was like, that's my intro. I
That's good.
gotta lead
I
in
like
with
it.
that. So anyway, so let's do our intro to the news portion. I'm gonna get a drink while we do that, and then we'll start E3, baby.
All right, all right, all right.
Leaks for Geeks. All right, guys, it's time for the E3 news that counts from your boys, the Delirious Dads Gamer Podcast. No, it's Gaming Podcast. But hey, boy, a lot went down. So we sectioned this off into groups. And so Hunter's got a portion, I got a portion, Ryan's got a portion, and we're just going to kind of rotate through the news. Who wants to start off? Ryan, do you want to start off, or Hunter, do you want to start off?
Well, I do have to say, before we go on, the greatest news of 2019 is that your boy has moved in the direction of getting his gaming PC.
Yeah, that is news. That is news.
So, that should be
Kind of makes
set
me
up.
jealous since I've been like living on the Shadow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You guys don't know what Shadow is. It's a virtual gaming, basically, hosted over the internet.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I use, and it doesn't always work. It's not always dependable. It's nice because I don't have a gaming computer, but I am instantly jealous of Hunter. Like, I've been riding him like, bro, you don't even have a computer. You're using this retarded Mac, and you're using this, whatever, HP that doesn't even work, and I'm cracking him, and I'm busting his cojones, and then all of a sudden, I ordered a high-end gaming computer, and I kind of just want to choke him out, just to be honest, because it's like, but it's okay. You know, I'll get a gaming computer sometime, and then it'll be better than
You
his.
dug that grave, though. You dug that grave.
I
Me and
did.
Me and my very smart buddy built it online, and it's being shipped to me, and then we're going to physically build it. So.
Yes.
Hey.
That's the way to do it. You save a lot of money doing it that way.
So that is an adventure waiting to happen. I'm not sure how long that'll be. I've gotten 3 out of my 8 parts I need. So we'll see going forward.
You ordered everything like on Amazon or from a certain website, or?
Actually, it's like 3 or 4 different sites. So I got like.
Okay, that's the way to go too, to get the best price on everything.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
3 I got, or the 3 or 4 that I got from Amazon, of course, are already in because of Prime.
Right.
And it's just
Right.
Right.
be
Amazing.
Other sites. I don't know how long. So.
Yep. Hey, a lot of people are scared to build their own computer, and they pay somebody, $300-400 to build their computer. Basically, that's what you're paying or more. So, I mean, everybody I've ever talked to that's built their own is like, why would you ever buy one? So, I think you made the right move. When I get one, I'm going to build my own, and it's going to be epic, and I'll not be the guy who's behind. It's been good, because I started playing Shadow before Hunter did. So it's kind of always like, even though Clint pays for Shadow, it's kind of like Shadow's been mine. And then I share it with Hunter. So I still felt like I was above Hunter to some extent. You know what I mean? And now he passed me up. So no big deal, though. I forgive you.
You just inspire me, Ryan. You gave me credit about my mic. Look what happened. And you gave me credit about the computer. Now the computer's coming in. So.
Yeah, no, I didn't even have to give you credit about your grill, and you got a better one than me.
Yeah.
It's just how things go.
Hey, but you know what? You had to do a little bit of bragging. You know what I'm saying? Had to do a little bit of that. Get it out there. You don't get to brag much on that kind of stuff. So why not?
Yeah.
Pump your chests. But yeah, it did come back to haunt you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay.
Well, who's going to jump into this juicy juice news first? I will if you want me to.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Go for it, Big Poppy.
All right, well, I'm going to start off with Nintendo, which has been something that I am, how would you say, I'm getting more and more into Nintendo. I've been out of Nintendo since Wii, basically, and kind of lost the desire for a lot of Nintendo games, specifically because the graphics got so much better on some of the other consoles that when I watch a preview for Nintendo games, for me, I'm not as excited, it seems like. But I've been kind of getting into it more. I've had some friends talking to me about the Switch and talking to me about, how the stories to these games are more in depth and the campaigns are longer, and they've got a lot of good games like that, which actually I love. I love those kind of games. And so I've kind of been pushing myself that way. And I could tell you after checking everything out that's coming out for Nintendo this year and all of E3, I think Nintendo blew it out of the water. I think Nintendo had the best release for E3 and so many top big games. And so I really am excited about trying to get a Nintendo Switch. Okay, that may happen this Christmas time. The other side of that is, I've been talking about that old Google Stadia, which we're getting more and more, or Stadia. Someone please let me know which one it is.
I think it's Stadia, but I don't know.
Stadia? Okay. So it's neither of what I said. Thanks, Clint. If it's Google Stadia, I'm excited about that too, and I think I'm probably going to try to go that direction and a Switch. And I may actually even stay away from the PlayStation and Xbox because those are pretty much covered on the computer. So if I'm going to have one for my TV, I think I'm going to go Switch and then Google Stadia, and my PC, that's what I'm going for this winter. Okay. And when I say this winter, guys, it's because that's the only time I make money. Anywho, back to the news. Everybody is excited about everything that's coming out, really. But one of the big ones that people are really pumped about, and I'm going to start with it first, is the new Zelda. Okay? This is Breath of the Wild 2. It's the sequel to Breath of the Wild. What's so good about Breath of the Wild from everything I've seen is the fact that it had its own engine built for the game, and the gameplay and the way the graphics run were much more modern day, if that makes sense. It's a little bit out of the normal feel to Zelda and kind of brought it into a new realm. And so a lot of people, even though they had not announced that they're coming with a sequel, a lot of people really hoped for a sequel, not just because the world that's in Breath of the Wild is so amazing, but because the way the game played is the way people feel like Zelda should finally be in the modern age, if that makes sense. And so they came out with number 2, and in Zelda fashion, which I do remember from the past, so this didn't surprise me, a lot of times the sequels to Zelda, the first one will kind of be like adventure and bright and fun, and then the sequels will kind of be dark. The sequels will be kind of gloomy and a little more, like if you could call Zelda horror, it'd be a more dark side of Zelda, right? Kind of a negative vibe to it. Same thing here. So the new Breath of the Wild is definitely a darker version of the first one. It's in the same world, running on the same engine, and so it should be very exciting. That's probably the top game for most people for Nintendo, but not everybody is a Zelda fan, but I would say a majority are. I'd say a lot of Nintendo Wii buyers and Nintendo Switch buyers actually buy it because of Zelda. Like, that's one of those items that's why they get it. I would say number 2, guys, is going to be Super Smash Brothers. Who loves some Super Smash Brothers?
Oh yeah.
Okay? Now, Super Smash Brothers is been talked about and all this stuff for a while. Everybody loves it. But what happened in this one is we got a release for some new characters. What's funny is a while back, Nintendo put out a basically a preview with a little silhouette that made everybody think that Banjo-Kazooie was going to be the next character for Smash Brothers. Everybody was pumped up. It's Banjo-Kazooie. If you were to think of a silhouette that looked like Banjo-Kazooie, but it wasn't, and they trolled everybody, what did you think it would be? That's what came out before. And kind of everybody was like, oh, that's cool, but now we're disappointed because we thought it was Banjo. Like, they got everybody good. Who could you imagine in a silhouette that looks like Banjo-Kazooie?
A silhouette that looks like Banjo-Kazooie?
They'd have to be in the Nintendo universe.
Yeah, it would have to be Nintendo universe. Well, it wouldn't be Donkey Kong, maybe?
Nope.
Or is Donkey Kong already in it?
Yeah, well, he's one of the characters, that was brought in recently.
Yeah.
Is it from an older school game?
It is.
Huh.
Man, I don't know.
Well, the last character released, when they tricked everybody and made them think it was Banjo-Kazooie, was the Duck Hunt Dog and the bird.
Oh, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I know where we're going with this.
Uh-huh. So, basically, everybody thought that was cool because that's not really something anybody expected. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But, because Nintendo, and this is why people really love Nintendo, they listen to fans. The fans were like, we need Banjo. You got us pumped on Banjo. Banjo's got to be in here. Well, bam, E3, Banjo-Kazooie. So now you get Duck Hunt Dog and Banjo-Kazooie coming out. Some people are saying, I'm not a Banjo-Kazooie fan, but if you were and you thought he was coming and then he's not, I understand why there was a big outcry about that.
Yeah, that's
and so
understandable.
now, both of those are coming in, and a whole sloth of people, characters from Dragon Quest series are all coming in also.
Yeah, I did see that. I did see the trailer for that portion. I wasn't sure what game it was, then they reveal it.
And those are, I'm pretty sure there's like 5 or 6 characters from that. Quite a few characters coming over from Dragon Quest. And so it should be a pretty big add-on there for Super Mario. That's for Super Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Okay.
Next after that is, well, let me think here where I want to go. I think I'm going to go with a couple remakes that are going to, not remakes, but like transfers, okay? So a couple games that are transferring over from other systems is one of the big games right now, The Witcher. You guys have heard of that? I haven't actually played it, but it's a big game. They're bringing it over, so Nintendo guys are pumped about that. I gotta say, from the preview guys, and it doesn't surprise me, the graphics are really dumbed down. They're really brought down for the Nintendo Switch.
To make it fit the handheld graphics
capability. Right, yep. And I really wish they could make a Nintendo Switch that had the same kind of graphics as, PlayStation or Xbox or PC, but I understand because of the handheld thing, that kind of limits them. So that's one of those trade-offs. But a lot of times games like The Witcher never come, right, because of that.
Yeah.
And so, but we do have a couple big games that are transferring over. The Witcher 3 is one of them. Graphics are brought down, but the whole game's there. It's not any different from the other versions that are out. You've also got Resident Evil 5 and 6. Now, you kind of got two sides to that, in my opinion. Have you guys played Resident Evil 5?
Yes. Me and you played it together, Ryan.
Oh, yeah. I remember. I was just throwing it out there to see if you remember.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that.
Did I love Resident Evil 5? Yes. Why did I love it? Because it was an awesome co-op game. Wasn't it a Resident Evil game? No. It was like a whole other game. You might as well call it like Tomb Raider made by Resident Evil or something like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? It wasn't Resident Evil. But it was a blast, and it was an awesome co-op game, which I think will be fun for Switch. 6 was a much better Resident Evil game, and it's coming to Switch. So you're kind of getting both sides of the coin. You're going to get that version where Resident Evil kind of walked off the beaten path and did number 5, and then they came back to reality. It did number 6. I actually think both games are good for their own reasons. They're just not both good Resident Evil games, if that makes sense.
Right.
Not in my opinion.
I wonder, they probably couldn't do it because of the graphics, but Resident Evil 7, since that was a first-person mode, that would be kind of interesting playing on your Switch.
That would be.
In a first-person mode.
Now, of course, the graphics on both of these are brought down too, right? I mean, they look... Well, 5 didn't have to come down too much because that's an older game, but 6 had to come down a little bit. You can tell it's brought down. But I think a lot of people love Resident Evil, and a lot of houses only have to pick one console, like families, right? Dads, delirious dads out there. And so they pick the Switch because it's great for the kids, but then they're missing out on games like Resident Evil and some of the games they used to play. So to see some of those big titles come over, I'm sure you dads are definitely excited about that.
Yeah, probably only good things, honestly.
Now, have any of you guys now I don't think either of you have, but listeners, you guys out there have probably played No More Heroes. It was a big game. They made a 1 and a 2, and then they decided to come out with a spin-off from No More Heroes. That was called, what the heck was that game called? Oh, I can't remember. It was a short spin-off, and basically they said, hey, we'll see how this does to see if we're going to come out with a number 3. Mm-hmm. And it sucked. It didn't do well at all. It kind of fell apart. And then they ended up going ahead and... Oh, Travis Strikes Again. That's the name of it, the little spinoff. It's the character from that game, but they made this other spinoff game, Travis Strikes Again, and it bombed. It just didn't do good at all. And so most No More Heroes fans thought, oh, crap, that means we're not going to get number 3 because this little in-between game they made didn't do any good. So nobody expected that release, and they let everybody know, yes, they still made number 3, and it bombed, even though they acted like they wouldn't if Travis Strikes Again didn't do well. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So that's good. I've never played that game, so I can't give an opinion on that one. Another big one is going to be called Luigi's Mansion, guys. And I'm just telling you that I haven't played that one either because I haven't played Nintendo stuff in a while. Mm-hmm. But from everything I see in the video and the preview and the gameplay, that game looked like a ton of fun. I'm watching it, and like, to be honest, just that game kind of made me want the Switch. It looked like a very unique, completely different game off of the Mario world. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Very different kind of gameplay. Not only is it got unique gameplay, and a lot of people are saying it looks better than the first one, which the second one didn't do quite as good as the first one, but they're really excited about this one. One thing that I think is really cool is it's co-op.
Oh,
you can play 2 players. And you can play as another character called Gooigi. He's basically like a monster form. He's like a ball of slime that looks like Luigi. And he can walk on spikes. He can slip through rails and cracks and things like that because he's a liquid form. But he can't touch any other liquid, so he's got his own weaknesses. Mm-hmm. So like if he touches water, well, he gets dissolved and he dies, to where obviously Luigi can run over water, right? I mean, it's no big deal. Okay, so each one kind of has its benefits.
Together, then.
Yep.
To kind of get through the levels.
Yep.
And I know Luigi's Mansion 1, I have that on GameCube. That's when it originally came out. And I remember that when I saw it, thinking, well, that's probably not going to be much fun. But then once I actually played it, it actually is quite a bit of fun, how you maneuver the little vacuum that sucks the ghosts in and, you know, and different things. But the gameplay on this, I'm watching the trailer as well, and it looks...
if you've ever played the old one, some of the kind of upgrades to fighting is some of the biggest things people are excited about. You can take the ghosts while you're sucking them into that vacuum, and you can actually slam them around back and forth on the ground. You can hit them into other ghosts, and there's other moves that you can do if you're getting ganged up on by the ghosts and stuff like that are kind of definitely looks like it's a little more immersive than the first one. Even though the first one was a great story from what I've read, this one is looking like they really took a jump up on that.
And it also looks like they kind of went and took the different floors of the hotel, and they basically like themed them. It
yes,
looks like
definitely.
A lot of different level themes to the game, so that's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm. And that was one that I didn't really expect to come across when I was going to the Nintendo News. I didn't expect to come across that, and when I did, it's probably one of the games that I got most excited about. Okay. I do want to kind of get back into Zelda, because I played Zelda but way back when, and I haven't played any of the new Zeldas, like even from GameCube on. Mm-hmm. And so I think I'd have fun going back and playing some of those if I get the extra time. But there's always so many new games that come out that I get excited about too, so it's hard to know what I'll get to play.
Yeah.
But the Zelda preview looked good.
I see here one of our listeners, George, said they need to do Earthworm Jim. Do they have rights to Earthworm Jim? Because that would be sweet. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I have heard a lot of people say they need to do Earthworm Jim in, what do you call it, Smash Brothers. Okay. I've heard people say that too. Yeah, so I think they do have rights to it probably. Mm-hmm. They just haven't done it.
Okay.
And that might have been what that listener was talking about.
Yeah.
They should redo the game too. I think if they made a new version of the game, that game was awesome for sure.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
Okay, there's an all-new game coming out, guys. It's not a sequel, and it's not one we've heard before, but it is off of a Netflix show, which is unique, and it's called Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. Okay, this is kind of a Final Fantasy meets, for lack of a better word, Jim Henson. Okay, it's kind of this different kind of combo to it, but it plays out very much like Final Fantasy. And so the previews of this game looked good. We didn't get a lot of info on it, but if you've been into the show, you probably know more about it than I do. That show was on Netflix, and now they've made this game. Sounds like it's going to be a good game. The way Final Fantasy plays is really popular, and so I think this is going to be a good new title. A lot of reviewers and stuff like that are pretty excited for it, for a new game, to where, a lot of times new games people are kind of hesitant about, but this one looked pretty good. We've got, of course, I talked about the Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. That was just letting people know they're making it, if that makes sense. We got a preview on it, but it wasn't like a release date or anything like that. The most recent or upcoming Zelda, or not Zelda, but game in that realm, if that makes sense, is it's going to be Link's Awakening. Okay, and so that's going to be it's not off the same platform as Breath of the Wild, right? So it's a different world and everything. But this one is actually coming out September 20th, so that's the next Zelda. Even though I mentioned the other Zelda first, because I think that was kind of a bigger shock to people. This was just a release date. People already knew about Link's Awakening, but now we have an actual release date on it. Cool. What's different about it is it's going to have a dungeon designer, meaning you can actually make your own dungeons and own missions to go run on, which we're seeing more and more popular, right? Kind of Mario did that thing, and so we're in the new Mario's coming out with it soon. And then there's a couple other games actually in the games I'll be talking about today that have mission builder, which is kind of getting more and more popular because of mods and things like that, right? We saw Overwatch open up. What's that called, Clint? The Overwatch deal?
The Overwatch Workshop.
Yep, yeah. Same kind of idea. Very unique, different kind of games. Other than they're like complete mods, not just missions. This Zelda thing will be actual scenarios playing out within the world, if that makes sense, rather than some other side type game. But okay, I hit on The Witcher.
Sorry about that. For some reason, our Skype went down, so I'm having to recall you guys here.
I just answered, but it's only showing me right now. There's Hunter.
Yeah, Hunter's back in. And I
don't see you.
I should be coming
there you go.
Just a sec. There we are.
Okay, you need a second to throw us into the live stream?
No, we're still live streaming. It's just that Skype went down.
Does that? But when you call back, will it automatically throw it back into the live stream?
Yep, you're back into the live stream now. It just for some reason.
Okay, cool.
For some reason, Skype shut down. Well, when I came back from the Luigi's Mansion gameplay, I came back and we were all frozen in place. So I figured, and I looked over and Skype had completely shut down, probably on all three ends. So anyway,
it's that Motel 6 internet.
Yep.
Yep.
Another new game for you guys. I'm only mentioning a couple of the new games that I think maybe kind of stood out. There's all kinds of games that are coming out that are beyond this list that I'm mentioning, but the list is already long, so bear with me, guys. This one is called Daemon X Machina. It's Daemon, which I'm guessing is Damon. Could be wrong. Ex Machina. They showed us a teaser at the last year's E3. A lot of people were excited about it, but a lot of people thought it looked so unique and good that as they developed the game, they were going to actually change the way the game plays. If that makes sense. You know how that happens? You see a preview and you're like, oh yeah, and then all of a sudden it's a turd, right? It's kind of like they just dumbed it down and they made it work for production and got it out. So a lot of people were worried about that because the game looks good. But in this new preview they put out, it looks even better. They didn't take away anything. They upped the ante, and so people are definitely pumped about it. And it has a release date of September 13th. And that game, let me see if I can find you some quick details on it. I thought I remembered it. It's kind of a battle game, obviously, with mechs and stuff like that. Yeah. So it's a high-action game, but I believe it's mainly a PvP, if I understand properly.
Okay, so it's PvP only. So kind of like Overwatch then, kind of a battle game.
I think so.
A shooter, yeah.
Even from the preview, it didn't give me enough to know for sure if that's all it is. that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so they may be kind of leaving some of that under wraps a little bit.
Gotcha.
The next one is called Denzer Dragon. That's a remake. You guys, that's an old one for Nintendo. Or it's not an old one for Nintendo, but it's an old one that's switching over to Nintendo.
Okay.
And actually, that one they're only updating the graphics. It's a lot of people that thought this might be coming. They thought basically they would change the game up, and they didn't. They kept it very much true to the old game. They just updated the graphics for the new one, and that's it. So if you're a fan of that game, coming over to Switch. I actually am not familiar with that game, but it was one of the games that it seemed like more people were pumped up about, so I wanted to make sure and let you guys know.
Okay.
Next on here is Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. We already knew that game was coming, and so if you're a Pokemon fan, that game looks really good. It's, I think, pretty much the next game after we got Let's Go before, and now this game is the next big game. Now, when we got Let's Go, we got what's called a Pokeball Plus, and basically it's a thing that looks like a Pokeball, and you can use it as your controller in the game, right? So you could use it to throw Pokeballs, you could use it to do different things. Now, you can't use it that way in this game, but some of the features still do work, which you can actually take your Pokemon, if you've played Pokemon Let's Go, you can take your Pokemon and put it into your Pokeball, and then you can take that Pokeball out into the world, and the game knows that you've taken your Pokemon like out into the world on a walk with you, they call it, right? And so when you do that, it can collect different things, it can get different upgrades, there's perks to taking your Pokemon out in the world with you, if that makes sense. That feature still exists for this new game. Okay? So that feature is the only thing that exists, though, not the controller mode. They didn't mention what kind of perks and extras you're going to get by taking your Pokemon out, but they did say, basically you don't want to not do that because you'll be missing out.
Okay. Yeah.
So they kind of hinted towards that, which is the same kind of system they had in the old one, so I'm sure that's what they're doing there.
Yeah.
Okay, this one is very interesting. Have you guys ever played, and this is a stupid question, but there's tons of games like this, that lightsaber game where you're going with the music?
Fruit Ninja or
Beat Saber.
Yeah.
Beat Saber, yep. Which originally, of course, was Rock Band and Guitar Hero, right? Those were the original. And then you kind of moved on from there to where, 2,000 different games are made that way. Well, this is a game I didn't expect to see done this way. And it is, basically, it's from the old Zelda series, which is called Hyrule. I don't know if you guys remember that game. It's a very top-down, old-school Zelda.
Yeah.
There's an indie company that's now come out, partnered with Zelda, and they remade the whole game to a beat system. It's called Cadence of Hyrule. And so as you're fighting, you're killing people and picking stuff up to the beat. While you're playing through Zelda. I thought that was pretty unique. I thought that was kind of a cool spin on it. I think people are going to love it. I think you're going to end up seeing some freaking viral videos of people just running through that game, just nailing everything, just like you do for all those other things, Beat Saber.
Things.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see that done.
That does sound
with
really
Zelda.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Now, first bad news of the whole thing is there's a game called Animal Crossing, which was coming over to the Switch, and everybody was really, really pumped about it, and everybody was promised it's coming in 2019, and everybody's now disappointed because it's coming in 2020. So, bad news for you guys. But good news is they put out some more gameplay, some more videos, and the game looks better than it did in the last preview.
In the last iteration? Okay.
Yep. So, anyways, nothing else I could say about that other than have fun waiting. Now, it was supposed to come at the end of 19, and it's going to come at the beginning of 20, supposedly. And so, not a huge wait. You're not waiting a whole year.
Maybe a couple months difference.
Yeah, they're saying something around 4 months difference.
Okay.
Which is, if you ask me, that's almost a half a year. They're just trying to make it seem like less, but yeah.
Well,
okay, and
Ryan just went down on the Skype.
Oh, it's still showing me on my end.
Yeah.
Yep.
Weird.
Actually, on here, something's going on. Hunter's tiny. Ryan's gone.
Yep.
We don't know what's going on, guys.
Resized you.
At least you can hear our beautiful voices still.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm back.
Yep, he's back and live.
Back
all right.
again.
Last two games for the Nintendo, which, to be honest, guys, there was like a montage video at the end of the E3 for Nintendo that rambled off like 30 more games that are coming out this next year. And so I'm not even getting into a lot of those games. I'm hitting on the highlight games that stood out to me. Like I said, we can hit on some other ones if they stood out to you guys. But there's 2 more games coming over to Switch, which are new for Switch and Nintendo, and that is Alien Isolation and Dauntless. Those are both coming over to Switch.
Wow.
A lot of people surprised by that one. And I'm sure the graphics will be brought down a little bit because the graphics were really good in that game. But should be a pretty fun one. It's kind of scary. So the trend that I'm seeing, if you ask me, is you got Resident Evil, you got Alien Isolation, and what was the other one? It was another game that was kind of a darker game, The Witcher. It's kind of like Switch and Nintendo has said, hey, we've maybe neglected the dark market. You know what I mean? That group of people who like kind of horror games, we don't really have any. And so, yep. So in this theme for Nintendo for, this E3 2019, my vibe is that they're kind of porting over. They haven't probably talked to many guys about developing games like that for them because it's probably a newer thing. They're saying, let's go ahead and get in this. And so they're bringing over some of these horror games, seeing, hey, are people going to enjoy playing these even though the graphics are brought down? How big of a seller are these going to be? And then maybe move into that genre a little bit more. That's a guess, but that's my take on it. So tell me if I'm wrong later. What you got, Clint?
Well, right now, I went ahead and covered the PC gaming show, and I also covered the Xbox portion, but I wanted to finish up with Xbox because I felt like Xbox had kind of more to offer than the PC gaming show. But hold on, let me pull my article up here. Did not know you were going to throw it my way, son.
Oh, it's only between the two of you, so it's 50% chance. Should have been prepped.
Yeah, 50-50. Usually you throw it to Hunter, but I get it. Today you want to...
Actually, I literally threw it to you because usually I throw it to Hunter. So you are right.
Well,
that's an awkward laugh of somebody who wasn't ready.
No, I was totally ready.
I'm just kidding.
Totally.
Shoot fire.
Shoot fire to save some matches. What you talking about? So yeah, there was some big stuff, big games, I should say, that was basically thrown out at E3. One of the ones that they announced was the Baldur's Gate 3, and it's going to get a tabletop prequel, I guess you'd say. So, yeah. So fans of the classic Baldur's Gate series of the isometric role-playing game are over the moon following the announcement of Baldur's Gate 3, set to release within Google Stadia, November 2019. Okay. Yeah, so Mike Merles, the co-creator of D&D's 5th edition rule set, was on hand during the PC gaming show at this year's E3 in Los Angeles. He announced that the upcoming campaign module titled Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus will serve as the computer game's sequel. So, yeah, so they're getting one. So that looks kind of cool. They also mentioned Sniper Elite. So it's going to bring in its own zombie army, if that makes sense. It's an undead Nazi game, basically. You're going to be killing undead Nazi zombies in this game. So it kind of has... It appears to be working in a team of 4 players, kind of a Left 4 Dead style game. The fighters are pretty diverse. It's a bunch of women and men. It seems to be kind of class-based. So it's kind of probably a little bit kind of like World War Z. So they announced this game coming out. It looks like it says Zombie Army Dead War 4. It doesn't have a launch date yet, but it's going to be available also on PS4 and Xbox One. But they announced it over at the Windows PC. And it actually be on the Epic Games Store. So it doesn't say anything about Steam for that one. But yeah, so go check out the trailer on that. Like I said, they didn't have a ton going on with the PC gaming show, so I just picked out some things to me that look kind of interesting. Don't know what you guys...
That's kind of surprising for me that they don't have a bunch to offer on the PC gaming, just because PC gaming, I think, is at the forefront right now.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I mean, PC gaming is growing. You're seeing a lot of more console players that are doing PC gaming that used to, kind of, I don't want to use the mouse and keyboard. And then slowly, because of competitive play and things like that, they've used the mouse and keyboard for like Xbox and PlayStation. And so now you're seeing a lot of those guys transfer over and go, well, if I'm going to get into this competitive gaming and I'm used to the mouse and keyboard, I'm going to go PC. And so almost all the games that are big labels are going cross-platform, right? They're on PC and stuff like that. And so most of the games we're going to be mentioning today that are big games, not necessarily Nintendo games, right? But, some of the other game makers that are big, they're going to be on PC. So maybe they left a lot of those games to the game developers, and that's why the PC section, didn't have as much in it.
Right, because they usually, I think they kind of usually had their own little thing, their own little game developers that produce it, so they're not really as worried about it. They're probably more on the tech side of things. And so, since it's...
Let us know in the comments,
show,
what do you guys think? Do you think PC gaming is finally going to take over, or do you think we're still in an age of console here for the next 5 or 6 years? I think we're at the age of, within 5 years, PC gaming will be the majority. That's where I'm at with it. But I'd like to know what you guys think for sure.
Yeah. So PC gaming show so far. Like I said, they have, and I'm going to kind of repeat myself here just to make sure we get it on the audio podcast. But what the crap? Well, I tell you what, I'm struggling over here today with
Streamlabs
stuff going. Yeah, the stream's kind of messed up tonight, but that's all right. So we announced that we got Sniper Elite. There's going to be Nazi zombies in that little zombie horde game, little zombie army killing the Nazis. And then what was the other I had said? What was the other one I announced?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't remember.
We announced something else.
Well,
Baldur's Gate. The prequel.
Oh, first, yeah, you announced that one first. Yep.
Yeah, the tabletop prequel, Baldur's Gate as Avernus.
Nice.
Or Descent into Avernus, which is supposed to come out in September. I don't know if I said that. So I want to make sure we got that in the recording. And then it also looks like here, I'm going to say that one last because I like horror games. Planet Zoo. It's going to be a zoo simulator. So that's going to be coming out kind of like Roller Coaster Tycoon, that kind of thing. And I'll pop up a trailer for the people to see, but it's a new one coming out if you're into simulators. The gameplay trailer is basically setting up. You can build your zoo. You take care of the animals in their unique habitats. Okay, so it's actually gonna, for your younger kids, it can be a good teaching tool. So you're gonna manage them, their health, and so it's kind of more focused on the animals and things like that. But the trailer looks pretty good.
Who's the maker? Does it show who that is? Is that someone who's done like Sims before or one of these type games we're used to?
Let me look it up here. Hold on. Sorry.
He was dogging you for not being ready, bro.
Well, I didn't have as much on the PC gaming show.
No, you told me that earlier.
I'll be much more ready.
Some of the articles don't list exactly who the maker is right off the bat, which I think is like key to anything. So it surprises me that it doesn't, but it's no big deal.
So let's see who the actual creator is. I'm Googling it. Because I have it on that one, but I don't want to click off of it here.
I got you.
Because it's playing on the video, so that's why. If I click off of it. That's the developers behind Planet Coaster, Zoo Tycoon, and Jurassic World. Same makers. Yeah.
Okay, so it's the same. They've done this before. Yeah. So it'll probably be a pretty good game.
It doesn't say the developer on here. Oh, yeah, it does. Frontier Developments. It was just hidden. Frontier Developments.
Because sometimes when those games like that, like simulation type games come out, sometimes they're pretty horrible. And then there's some that are really good, and I think it's one of those games that's so different from other games that experience in that kind of game goes a long ways when you're thinking about buying it, if that makes sense.
There was a game I watched somebody play that was like a skyscraper type tycoon or whatever, you
Mhm.
know, and like you literally built skyscrapers. That's what you did.
Mhm.
And the game looked cool, and then they got in there and started playing it, and it was literally like the most boring thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by me, I mean, like me personally, by the name, I would already have guessed that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was just like watching paint dry.
They can be pretty fun though.
Yeah, some Sims can be real fun, but they're the ones that purposefully kind of, they got a better system built in, and they're drawing you into the gameplay,
Mhm.
drawing you into the different elements, and then some just aren't really tied together very well, so you end up, you can kind of just mess around with one element if you want to, and it doesn't keep you in the game or keep you excited about what's next, or there's no real story to some Sims.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, you kind of, those are duds, in my opinion.
Yeah. 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 It just kind of depends on what they do. I like the ones that kind of give you free reign. You can kind of do what you want. You can make things happen, accidents, or whatever. Kind of that god complex kind of thing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that's the kind of stuff that I enjoy on my end, but that's just me. Also, another thing they announced is a new game that I thought looked kind of fun, called Midnight Ghost Hunt. Okay, so this game, basically the trailer shows off basically a ghost that's hiding, like it's hiding in a clock, and then it goes over to a lamp. It's basically hiding from these hunters that are trying to get them. Okay, so the Midnight Ghost Hunt, it's one of the most unique titles that was shown at E3. The original basis of the game was Gary's mod product called Prop Hunt, but Coffee Stain Games picked it up and basically kind of did their own spin on it, so to speak.
Yeah, and made a full version game.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Have you guys seen Prop Hunt before?
no, haven't seen it.
It was pretty cool. That makes total sense though, because the whole, the whole aspect of that game is like there's a team that's searching for the other team, and you can become all the objects in the map.
Yeah, and I also heard him just make the announcement that, like, if you don't get the ghost by the time midnight hits, then they come after you. So there's going to be like a timed portion to the game as well.
Was there a trailer for this game?
Yeah, I'm playing it right now on the stream.
Oh, okay. Is it a arcadey kind of game, or is it more kind of dark, like a real horror game?
It's
You know,
dark
'cause
it's dark like a real horror game.
Oh, really? That sounds interesting then.
Yeah.
Okay. Because
Yeah,
just by the
yeah.
description, you can't tell.
Basically, the guys are running around in hazmat suits, and you see the ghost kind of maneuvering around the mansion.
Okay.
Yeah. And so
I'm watching the
they're-
preview now. Sweet.
Yeah, so they're
Looks
searching
good.
for him. Looks pretty sweet. And so so then the ghost can attack the survivors, I guess, as you move through,
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
just like that. So anyway, looks pretty cool, kind of different. There was another game, and I didn't catch the name of it on the report, but there was one that they were showing off, and one of the guys said that the game was going to feature. It's a battle royale type game, and it's going to feature 1,000 players in the battle royale.
Whoa.
Yeah, but that's supposed to go with Google Stadia, I believe. That was just kind of a demo.
That
demo
makes sense.
type situation.
Google Stadia, last report that they had put out, they said they're developing it so it can run games like that with up to 1,000 players. So that makes sense. Maybe obviously was a little hint that they're already in works with these guys. So
Yeah.
that would be pretty crazy to see a game, Battle Royale, 1,000 people drop in on a map like we were talking about last time, like maybe Grand Theft Auto or something big.
Right.
That would be crazy.
Yeah. So
That'd be
really
awesome.
cool stuff.
Pumped.
Clint, I lost your video again. I don't know if it's gone on your end or not.
Yeah, Google or this. I don't know what is up with. I don't know what is up with Skype today, but it is just poo sauce city.
Closet.
No,
Yeah, it could be your new internet setup.
no, because it's not. It's only Skype. It's nothing else. You know what I mean? Like the rest of the stream's not messing up. It's only Skype, and it's
weird.
it's literally not an internet thing. It's actually shutting Skype down.
Oh, that's Skype on your computer's got no problem. Me and
Right.
Hunter have been connected to each other the entire time with no issue. So it's weird. That sucks.
That's what I'm saying.
Sorry, guys. Sometimes we can't foresee these kind of things. We usually don't have this kind of issue, but If you do, you do. That's the issue with doing live. We take risks.
We usually don't have this issue, but we have an issue usually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have some issues.
Yeah,
This is a more blatant one.
I don't think the stream ever goes unpunished. Yeah,
Yeah.
unpunished for going live. Well, now it's not even letting me into that call. Wow.
Yeah, you're gone.
Well,
It's private
let
now.
me refire up the call here. Oh yeah, yeah,
Do we have to accept it?
yeah. Why
Do we
wouldn't you?
have to?
You don't have to if you don't want to be.
Oh, I got you. It's not letting you join. I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm not even getting an invite from you though.
Because I haven't sent it out yet.
Oh.
You gotta send it out to get it first, son. All right, let's see if this works this time. I mean, used to, guys, when we did the live stream, we just did a static background and just talked the whole time. So
Oh, yeah.
there we go.
I got you, but I don't have Hunter yet.
All right,
Here I am.
here I am. Here I am. How do you do? It's my daughter's favorite song.
Wow.
Yep, stuck in my old head. Stuck in my old head.
She watches it on those YouTube videos with the weird Asian inspired animations.
Yes. She sure do. Alright, let me see if I can connect up to Hunter here.
Connect up to me. What do you mean? You can't see me?
I see you.
I can't see in the stream, though.
Oh.
Yeah. So, Hunter, if you want to go ahead, you can continue on with your portion, and I will link us in and see if I can get this going.
Okay.
All right.
I know this stuff is just like
Hey,
nails on a
real quick,
chalkboard.
too. I'm going to ask this question since we're already having technical difficulties, and I don't want to ask later. Anybody might be able to throw it in on the comments, but also to you two. I'm hearing Clint break up. Is that on my end, or are you hearing that too, Hunter? Or am I breaking up to you guys, or has it been smooth?
It's been smooth for the most part. I haven't heard much breakup. I've heard a little static when both of you talk sometimes, but nothing
Okay.
Too crazy.
a little bit.
Okay.
But I thought it was maybe me because you were lagging on your video a little bit too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see, and that's why earlier I thought that that it was his end on the Skype, but then I realized it was not. Like
Okay. So
we went through.
you're hearing my feed okay too, Clint?
Yeah, you haven't been
Okay.
cutting out at all.
Mm.
On
That's something
us,
weird going on
so,
then.
Yeah.
You usually never cut out, and you're cutting out quite a bit. That's why I'm asking. That's why I wanted to make sure Clint wasn't here, or Hunter wasn't hearing it too.
Okay. I got you.
But he said he wasn't, so I think we're good.
So
All right,
yeah.
back to
How
it.
do you-
Sorry, guys.
How do you pronounce the? I always call it Bashida, but that's not right. How do you say it? The ones that do the ones you had me cover.
Bethesda?
Bethesda. Jeez.
Bethesda.
I was saying Bathsheba.
Bathsheba.
I don't know. Okay. Bethesda. I
Yes.
got to cover Bethesda and EA, and I was super pumped about it, at least EA. I don't play a ton of Bethesda games, but I'm going to cover both of those, and I'm probably going to start out with Bethesda first.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is just kind of go down a list of games that have been released by them or that were shown at E3, and then just kind of cover a couple of them that I thought were really cool. I'll probably have a little input on every one of them because I was able to watch all the trailers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. Let's dive in. There was quite a few games. First one on the list is Commander Keen. I watched this one, and I guess it's a mobile game, free to play mobile game. And from what I saw, it was like a 2D. It says here it's a 2D tactic-based game where you use a variety of gadgets and powers to overcome various threats. The game is featured in a single-player mode, as well as real-time combat, PvP combat. So when I first saw this, I thought it was like a cartoon commercial on my video that I was watching, because I had no idea it was a video game, and then I realized, oh, this is one of the actual trailers, and by the trailer you could hardly tell like what kind of game this was gonna be. But I kind of got the idea once he started showing them kind of like platforming together and everything.
Right.
But literally the actual preview itself was drawn up like a cartoon. It looked like something you would watch on Nick or Cartoon Network. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah. So I obviously don't think that's what the gameplay's gonna look like. Maybe the cartoons will look that way, like the actual characters in the game. But as far as what they did for the trailer, obviously it's not going to be that way.
Now there are some games that are that style that are getting popular, like the newer Pokemon games look a little more like purely like the cartoon. And then same thing for like there's that old school cartoon one that came out. What's it called? Something about the cup. What's that called, Clint?
Cuphead.
Cuphead. Yeah, and that one's
game.
definitely looks like a cartoon too.
Okay,
Now there, Ryan, you were getting a little breakup beef for me.
Yeah, right there. There was a little bit of cut. A little bit of cut action there.
But you could now talk to me a little bit.
Oh, sorry. You guys are breaking up to me a little bit too. And
Really?
Clint's video feed is freezing, so I don't know what's going on. I just checked my my speed, and I'm doing great over here, so it's weird.
The streaming gods are cursing us.
Check your streaming, Clinton. I have a feeling it's because he's in his closet.
No, I mean,
because he's from Motel 6.
Well, he bought a really nice system that runs his Ethernet through all of his wall plugs.
we've streamed multiple nights and haven't had an issue.
Well, yeah, when we're gaming, that's true.
Yeah, we've done like 3.
It's only when we're streaming. When we're streaming, all the issues come.
3.
Yeah,
so what's happening is I'm doing a new way of streaming to Facebook. So I don't
And maybe
know
it's
if
backing
that's-
us up a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like an extra feed. But now, just so
Was
you
I
guys
cutting
know,
out at all when I was talking about my game?
No, you're good. What's
Okay.
up,
Yeah, you
Justin?
sounded good to me.
What's up, Justin and Bill? Welcome to the stream, both of you.
Hello, hello.
Sorry, we're having technical difficulties, so I'm just trying to fix it as we go here.
You want me to keep going though, Clinton?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So next up on the lineup from Bethesda is Deathloop. Deathloop is made by the same creators of Dishonored. It's set on a mysterious island. It tells a mind-bending story of a cult who are stuck in a time loop that repeats itself each time one of them dies.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry, not of a cult. The guy's name is Colt. I read that wrong. The guy's name's Colt and Juliana. So Colt and Juliana are stuck in this time loop, and I saw the trailer of this, and what it looked like is there was a Tom Cruise movie called Edge of Tomorrow or Edge
Tomorrow,
of
yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember which. Okay. And every time he would go on his mission and die, he'd start the day over again.
Yep, until he got it right
So-
to save the world.
until he
Yeah,
got it
I remember that.
And that's what this looks like as a game. It looked pretty cool.
Huh,
It shows
I like
both of them
that.
And they die and then start over, you know.
I like
where-
time travel movies and games and stuff like that. Time travel, something I'm into for sure.
Deathloop will feature meticulously designed levels and special powers to dispatch foes, like the Dishonored series. However, it seems to be more action-packed with a focus on combat and speedy maneuvering.
Okay.
So, a little more fast-paced than Dishonored. Dishonored was kind of a sneaky game, sneak around, stuff, everything. Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry. I'm still struggling with my cough and throat stuff. But yeah, so this looks really cool because it's a concept I haven't seen in a game before. You die, you wake back up at the beginning of the day, start over. And so I imagine they're going to add stuff into this that you just are going to have to die. Like, you know, like you get to the end of a road and you realize, oh, I had to do that back there differently. And then
Yep,
start
yep.
over again.
Yeah.
That
So
sounds
that'll be
good. I
cool.
like that.
That'll be really
You got to
cool.
figure out what choice you took that was wrong.
Yeah.
If that's really how that game plays out, I'll be into that for sure.
So the next one on the list is Doom Eternal. Doom is a game that I never really got into. There was a couple.
I've got the remake, or I had the remake. I think I traded
Oh
it in
yeah,
on the PlayStation.
yeah. So it's not something I ever got into. The remake I looked at and it looked pretty good. There was an older one, I think for Xbox,
Okay.
that was more like these past two Dooms have been more true to the original, and it's like shoot 'em ups, like you just run through the level and there's people coming at you.
Yeah, just rampaging.
Yeah. Whereas this one that I'm talking about on Xbox, I played with my cousin. It was more level based, and like you went through, and there's a story to it. And I think these both have stories too, but they're just more openly just shoot 'em up. Whereas this other one was kind of more like the movie that came out in Doom, where you have stages. I really liked that one, and so like this new remake that came out kind of intrigued me, the last one, but I didn't buy into it. And then after watching this trailer today, I was like, ooh, I might actually consider this. It looks pretty good.
Might actually want in on some of that action.
Yeah, it looks fun. It looks action packed, and it looks like there's more of like the environment extends out more, and like it looks like there is a cool story to it. And so I'm a guy who really likes a good story. Bethesda's reboot of Doom in 2016 hit like a hammer. The speed and ferocity of the combat, or ferocity, I guess, was almost perfectly in tune with the ridiculous metal soundtrack. Just the way Doom heads, or just the way the Doom heads like it. So the guys who make it, they like it that way.
Yeah.
It wasn't too surprising when Bethesda announced that a follow-up was on the way. While we got to see more of the over-the-top single-player action, the biggest new feature shown in the press conference was the multiplayer battle mode. So listen, this caught me by surprise, and I thought it was a whole new game, because it showed the regular story mode, and then it cropped in and it went dark for a second, and it showed these monsters fighting people and the main guy in Doom. So apparently you can have a multiplayer now where you play other people, player versus player, and you can either be the demons, I guess is what you call those things, the monsters, or you can be the soldier. So you can actually fight each other. And so I thought that was really cool. They haven't done something like that before.
Yeah, that is
No,
really
that's
cool.
different.
So, not only are you getting to just have the gory action of Doom, just run around, shoot 'em up, but you can also now like strategize with friends on how to, beat this space marine or whoever you want to call him. So
That's
super
really
pumped to
cool.
see what that's like.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I
Next
actually
on
didn't
the
get to check out the Doom trailer, so I need to after the show.
Yeah.
Check that out.
No, there's so much stuff that came out in E3. There's no way you
Oh,
could
yeah.
check it all out unless you just spent, all the time there. That's why we're trying to cram this into a show for you guys, because you spend hours and hours just watching. It's a 3-day event.
Oh yeah.
So it's
Right.
There's just tons of
I
stuff.
spent an hour and a half today just watching clips of the stuff I'm supposed to cover, just the stuff I'm covering.
Yeah.
So, the Elder Scrolls Online, God help me pronounce this, I have no idea. Elsewhere,
Elsewhere.
Elsweyr.
Hey, it sounds
That's
good
the
to
name.
sounds good to me.
So, Elder Scrolls Online obviously has been a thing for a while. This is a new expansion of Elder Scrolls Online. And the flashy new trailer depicts a big, massive fight against dragons.
That's always good.
Yeah.
Massive fights
so,
and dragons in the same sentence can't be bad.
Yeah, so it has
Never.
this team of, your online Elder Scrolls people, and they're all teaming up on this dragon.
Yeah.
Other than that, you don't really gather much from it. It's just like, oh, okay, well, here's a downloadable pack, and it looks like it's got a good story to it. And literally that's all it says on this article is that Bethesda showcased more of the upcoming expansion for their Elder Scrolls Online. The flashy new trailer depicts a fight against a massive dragon and an assortment of adventures. So that's it. Like, that's what we got from this little sneak peek. Was
That's the sneak
Some
peek.
of those, that's how
Yeah.
some of them on E3 are. They're just like the tiniest little, hey, guess what? This is coming. And that's all you get. It's like a teaser.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And so, okay, so the next one is going to be Fallout 76. And I know I can hear you guys now. Boo. Boo, Fallout 76.
Actually, a lot of people have in the beginning, they didn't like Fallout 76, and then there was some, I think some changes made, some updates made to it, and then a lot of people who turned it down kind of tried it again, And what a lot of the things people didn't like, they fixed. So that was pretty good of them, I think. Yep.
That's what I've kind of gathered from this article and watching the video is that they've patched some stuff. They've made some better add-ons to this to make it more of a traditional Fallout game. People like it more. It even said that the guy had come out during E3 and talked to them basically about kind of flopping with it. Like, you know, and so for me, that gives me some I respect the guy for that. He didn't just ignore it.
If they do that kind of stuff, that's what you have to do if you want to be a good game developer. And to be honest, that didn't happen. If a game sucked, it sucked. There was no updates. There was no, you didn't come back through and fix those things. Now you've got alpha testing, and then you got beta, and then all of a sudden we come into real, and then even once it comes into the real production, sometimes we see these games completely revamp things. Like they'll put out a whole new, HUD that pops up, and the way you see your map, and the way they'll change that kind of stuff because everybody's saying, hey, this freaking sucks, and they can change that now. I think that's awesome. I love that about the modern day gaming.
For sure. So, basically this talks about is the patches that they fixed in the game, and also that they're offering a Battle Royale mode.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
That's cool.
Bethesda offered a quick spotlight on Fallout 76, stating that it intends to continue supporting the polarized online multiplayer action RPG. The Wastelanders content expansion will include a new quest line to complete, as well as human NPCs to encounter.
Okay.
A Battle Royale mode will be included alongside the new content as well. It's set to release the fall of 2019 and will be free to all Fallout 76 players.
The Battle Royale is such a big thing. We just see that in everything now.
Everybody's jumping on that.
It's weird because if you go back, to the games of our generation, I guess the big thing that came out was multiplayer first-person shooters, right? That was our generation, like the Call of Duty age.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a new thing. Like it existed in the sense of like, the old 007. But in reality, it didn't explode till our generation. Like all of a sudden, this is the thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Team deathmatch, that kind of setup, capture the flag, and then to kind of see this is a birth to a whole new thing. You know what I mean? And everybody's doing it. And so I don't think it's gonna. I think that's the direction we're gonna go here for a while.
Yeah.
Where, people like the regular multiplayer, but the battle royale, I think, especially like the squad battle royale and stuff like that, it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think one of the reasons it's so big is because it's different, but also because it's really good for like competition, for like tournaments. It's not just one person on one person or one team on one team. You can really like put together a real squad or a clan. And just get good together and just murk people,
Yeah, you got 100-something players on the map, Or in the case of that one game, 1,000. Or in the case of that, imagine, it's everybody partaking into the community, so to speak.
What if it's 1,000 people with squads of like 10? Think of how unique that kind of gameplay would be. You have 10 friends that you're really close with, and you're going to war against 1,000 others to see who comes out on top. Bro, that just sounds epic. I mean, that just sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
that's super fun. I think, and that's why it's catching people. Is like 100 people dropping into a map when it first came out. I was like, no way. You play 100 people and they don't respawn. Like you kill them, they're gone, and then whoever's left wins. Like that sounds like that's war.
Crazy.
They die.
It's
and they
King
die.
of the Hill. Yeah, back in the day, King of the Hill. Yeah.
I think that's why there's still fascination to it, and if they continue to make changes and stay on top of it, it will be a thing for a while. I like what they said in the video I watched. He said that they did as best as they could to make it still unique to Fallout, so it feels like a Fallout game even though it is a battle royale.
Okay.
You can play. I believe I saw you could play with squads.
Okay. So that's pretty cool.
You're actually able to take perks.
Well, Fallout's very scavenger
and apply it to. Yeah, for sure. And you'll be able to, like, I guess, scavenge stuff and build even in this too. I mean, of course, it's probably not going to be like Fortnite building where you just throw a wall up real fast.
Yeah.
But you'll be able to build stuff, scavenge. And the way they've laid it out is that apparently there's a Vault 51. And this vault is different because they didn't pick an overseer of the vault when they made it. They put a computer in charge, and so basically this computer's idea to pick the overseers is a battle, and whoever wins this battle becomes
that's the trick
of the
to
vault.
it. I gotcha.
So they did a good job of trying to keep it true to Fallout while also having Battle Royale, and their idea of the storm cloud or whatever that's closing you in is a nuclear storm. It makes total sense.
Okay.
So there'll be all kinds of different weapons. There'll even be nukes in it. They said you can nuke the whole team, and so that's part of the game, keeping launch codes and the stuff away from other teams.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Next on the list is Ghostwire Tokyo. I didn't get a lot from this, but it looked really good. The graphics looked good. And of course, it was more of a cinematic, so who knows if the gameplay's actually that well. Mm-hmm. But the cinematic looked beautiful. It looked like like PT when it came out, and they showed, Norman Reedus walking through the street, and it looks real. That kind of realism. Right. It looks like the photorealism. So Ghostwire Tokyo is the latest project from the developer Shinji Mikami.
Yay!
I don't either. Sue me, guys. Jump on me if I got it wrong. I'm sorry.
It's racist.
You're racist. That's exactly what I was saying.
It's a psychological horror action adventure game set in Tokyo where people start mysteriously disappearing, and your objective is to figure out why. Little was shown of how the game plays or who's playing, but there were plenty of supernatural foes, likely Japanese mythological characters, featured during this cinematic trailer. So, like I said, it didn't show a lot of actual gameplay. Here's another one of those sneak peeks. We're going to show you a video.
Here comes something. Yep.
Another one to touch on really quick, Rage 2. It released a month ago, but they're already putting some new content in it. In the presentation, it showed that there's going to be an expansion called Rise of the Ghosts, which introduces new enemies, new vehicles, new weapons, and even cheats. It's got some new cheats that you can enter.
Okay.
Some of the things they include is you can, obviously there's new characters, and you can even ride around in a mech suit. It's a rideable mech suit or a wearable mech suit, whatever you want to call it.
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. The next one, which I thought looked really good, was Wolfenstein Youngblood. It looked real good. Another one of those that showed some gameplay and cinematic. Looks like a bloody shooter. He's shooting up Nazis. Just kind of like Clint was talking about, but these aren't zombie Nazis. And so, what I liked about it is it looked like you just kind of slashed through these guys. I don't know why I like that, but I like that in a shooter when you're co-oping and you're just mowing down people. I mean, it gives you this power feeling. So, it looked really good. Again, I was never a Wolfenstein fan. I haven't played much of any of the other ones, but this one kind of piqued my interest.
Okay. It's always funny. I notice a lot of games come out that have let's say, they're encouraging murdering Nazis, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what I was thinking today too.
That's a common theme we've seen in gaming over the years. Actually, we've seen in the past, encouraging. It's not really encouraging us to murder Nazis, but it's playing off the fact that they've been a villain, right? And we've seen
we can do bad stuff to them because of what they did in real history.
Right, and we see the same thing where we're fighting Islamic insurgents, right? We've seen that in some war games and things like that, because it's kind of true to things that have happened. I've always thought, what about games like in other countries that are against us?
Yeah.
Do they have games where it's like we're killing the American soldiers and it's feels good for them?
It is a thing. It is a thing. I've seen this because I watch a lot of gaming videos on YouTube about this, and there is games made overseas that are banned here because they're shooting American soldiers.
Really?
And obviously, it's the ones that I've seen aren't very nicely developed, so it's not like our Call of Duty where it's like
Well, because
super
people aren't gonna.
realistic.
Everybody knows the Western world. It's the biggest gaming community. So if you're gonna produce a big game, you're gonna sell it to us. So it's not gonna be a big game.
It's probably not wise to, yeah.
Right.
But that is a thing. I've seen it.
That's interesting.
It's just
But you have things
not
like
as
Call of
popular.
Duty
You
when
don't have as many people playing that.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine some game over there where, and I don't even know if they're allowed to play games, honestly. Like, I think the men probably are. And I'm not being like, anti-anything. I'm just being honest about what I know.
Mm-hmm.
If they're over there and they had a game and they're killing Jews, you know what I mean? Because they're fighting Israel for years now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that would just be weird for me to think of. Right, but we have games like that over here where we're fighting them, and it doesn't seem weird. It's like, oh yeah, you smoked him. You know what I mean? And you might joke about it. Yeah.
There's definitely a fine line, and I think it shows with past things that have been attempted, and even there was that one map on one of the Call of Duties where you were the Russian terrorists. And
Yeah, I
you
was
just
about to
went
say.
to the
Well,
airport.
it started off the whole series, or the storyline parts of that.
Mhm.
Instead of part of the terrorist rather than the hero.
People broke
Right.
out big time on that, and they.
Oh, that was really
So
really a big deal. Yeah.
it's crazy though, yeah. So there's there's hardly any victimizing when you're shooting Nazis though. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
Hey,
it's, like,
give me,
it's okay because they were terrible. But
Yeah.
it's-
Yeah.
they're
You
still
can turn them
people,
into
they're
zombies. You can do whatever you want. Yeah.
yeah.
Just, they're just killing
But it's like when Resident Evil 5 came out, there was an outcry because all the zombies you were killing were black, and people said, oh, it's just a racist game so white people can go kill a bunch of black people. There was a bunch of news articles on it. I thought,
Oh,
that's
really?
crazy. Oh, yeah.
I didn't know
And I
that.
thought, and I thought, it's literally in a country where the majority of people are black.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like there's some gangsters and there's some black Americans that have turned to zombies and all the white people are killing black people. We're talking about we're in another country where all the people are black, so the zombies naturally are black.
Right.
And we're explorers, so we're white. So, I mean, to me, the story made complete sense. I know I'm white, but I don't think I'm being biased in this situation. I mean, I'm actually Indian, so, we need reparations too.
Hey, in the chat, Justin Jackson asked, what do you guys think Death Stranding, think of Death Stranding so far? So that's going to be PlayStation exclusive. We're not really bringing up PlayStation tonight, but I will say, I think creatively it looks really good. I think the graphics look really good. Looks like a lot of fun. But then it's got that weird sci-fi, like almost too weird, like the whole baby thing. It's like it gives me the heebie-jeebies. But I am excited about it.
My take on it was
weird.
My take on it was mainly different because the second big preview looked so different from the first big preview.
Yeah.
And anytime you see that, that makes me hesitant. Because I go,
how much did they change?
what were you selling me on before that you weren't really putting in the game? And then the new preview actually looks intriguing because it brought out all these different gizmos and gadgets and abilities in a way that you guys are going to have that really changes the gameplay. But the gameplay looked a lot less deep, if that makes sense. Like the first preview looked like a deep interactive type game to where the next one looked a little more like a fighter, like an adventure game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And so when I see those kind of contrasting previews, and I know the first one was more cinematic, I get that, but I don't like seeing over cinematized previews first that really take away from what the game's going to be. A lot of times that hurts
where's my meat?
Where's my game?
Yeah,
I think
even if it's not gameplay, make the preview give me the feel of the gameplay. Don't make it like some separate. Imagine watching a movie and the preview acted like it was a first-person view and we're going to go through this whole adventure in first person. And you're like, wow, that's a really unique movie. And then you watch the movie and it's not. It's just a normal movie. That's like how I feel when games do that sometimes. Like, wait, that's not how the game is at all.
Yeah. I think that's something that Nintendo got right this year. A lot of their stuff has gameplay.
Oh yeah, almost all of it had gameplay.
Some of the others were just more like, oh, we're watching a bunch of game trailers, and that definitely makes you hesitant.
Yep.
But Hunter,
Now, I can't tell you, over the last
for-
couple of years. Go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna tell him sorry for messing them up. I was gonna let you continue on what you're doing, but I was gonna plug this cord to the router back there. And try
No, I
to
can't
do
tell
it
you.
real quick.
Go ahead.
Okay.
While he's
So
doing that.
keep going.
Keep going.
Over the last couple of years, I can tell you the graphics have gotten so much better that When you're talking about, used to, it wasn't just the way the game was portrayed. It was the graphics looked so good on the preview that even the graphics of the game was disappointing, not just the way it was played.
Right.
Now the game graphics have gotten so good on a lot of these games that they actually do make the preview pretty close to the game. And I like that. I mean, I used to hate that when I'd watch a game and the graphics were like, oh my gosh, and then the game came out and it's literally a quarter of what they were showing you in the preview. That drove me crazy. And we don't see that as much anymore, so I'm glad for that for sure.
In some games these days, you have the game actually go from cinematic to gameplay.
Yeah, and you can't see the difference. That's what happened in Resident Evil.
Yeah, it zooms into and then you're back into the game. There's a couple I played, I can't remember off the top of my head now, but even like Spider-Man, I just finally finished Spider-Man the other day on PS4.
Yeah.
Spider-Man,